This is a particularly special presentation for the West Tampa Chamber because the future of the Tampa Bay Rays and a potential stadium at the Hillsborough College site directly impacts the future of West Tampa, Drew Park, and our entire region. On March 26th, the Tampa Bay Chamber, along with several chamber CEOs from across the region, including myself, released a statement supporting the Rays Stadium project at the proposed Hillsborough College site. Shortly thereafter, on April 3rd, the West Tampa Chamber formally sent letters of support to both the Tampa City Council and the Hillsborough County Commission, expressing our support for the proposed deal as well. And our chamber has also worked collaboratively with community partners throughout this process. We joined the South Tampa Chamber and Cafe Con Tampa to help bring the important conversation to our community. And in May, we welcomed Hillsborough College President Dr. Ken Atwater, who's with us today, to share his perspective on the opportunity and potential impact of this project. Today, we are honored to welcome the Tampa Bay Rays CEO, Ken Babby, to speak with us. Ken brings a wealth of experience in professional sports leadership and community engagement, and we are grateful that he has taken the time to be with us. We believe this project has the potential to create meaningful economic development opportunities, strengthen West Tampa and Drew Park, and benefit the entire Tampa Bay region. Simply put, we believe the Rays belong in Tampa. Before I invite Mr. Babby to the stage, I would like to ask everyone to please extend him the respect and courtesy that we strive to show all of our guests. We will have time for questions and answers following his presentation. However, due to our schedule, and we also have another special presentation that follows, we'll be limiting the Q&A session to only 5 questions. Please join me in giving a warm West Tampa Chamber welcome to Chief Executive Officer of the Tampa Bay Rays, Ken Babby.
Good afternoon. It is an absolute, if it's okay, I'm going to walk around a little bit. Too short to stand behind the podium anyway, but it's a great thrill to be here. First, just a couple of brief call outs. I want to thank Councilman Charlie Miranda. Let's give him a round of applause. Truth be told, he's the biggest baseball fan of any elected official we have in Tampa, and he deserves your respect, and we appreciate you, Charlie. Thank you for coming. I want to thank my friend Dr. Ken Atwater and his team. Paige Mias is here. We're going to talk a lot of baseball today. We're going to talk a lot about the future of Tampa, but I'll tell you the part of this project that has us most excited is the opportunity of what's about to happen across the street at Hillsborough College. And yes, give that a round of applause. Is this microphone on? I am not aware of another project in North America that has the opportunity to rejuvenate a college, change a city, lift a community, and bring home a Major League Baseball team to its home city. This is an opportunity, a generational, transformational opportunity for our region. And on top of that, what we'll talk about today is the economic impact that's generated, the new jobs that are generated, and an opportunity to take the Drew Park area, which we just had the pleasure of meeting with a couple of weeks ago, and take it and lift it where it belongs as one of the thriving regions, part of our region. And so I'll walk you through a few slides. Certainly happy to answer some questions, and really honored to be here with each of you today. I just start by saying it is an incredible honor to be in this role at this time with this team in this city. And I don't just say that because of the project, but I've learned over the course of the last 9 months since I've been in Tampa what the Rays mean to this region, what the Rays mean to Tampa. You can look at the fabulous exhibit that our friends from the Tampa Baseball Museum brought. Go feel how thick that Tampa Smokers wool jersey is. Could you imagine wearing that in this temperature, 91 degrees, playing outside in a thick wool jersey? But the history of baseball and the history of this great game in this amazing city is deep and deeply rooted, and we're proud to continue that work here today. And so I'm going to walk through our slides. Simply put, This is our moment. You've seen this on billboards all throughout the community. And as you look back at the history of this franchise and the work that, I just wanted to put up a bunch of pictures of Dr. Ken Atwater and I. We're the two best bald-looking Kens in all of town. We have been all over the community and couldn't be prouder to talk about this. You know, one of the things that you may read in the papers, they say, well, the community wants to hear more about the project. I believe we've now done 24 community meetings just like this, being out, and we will do more as we get out and want to hear from the public in terms of the impact of a project like this. But I just had to share that slide for Dr. Atwater. What we're talking about is building a true work, live, learn, play development. There's not quite another example, and we'll talk about projects such as the Battery in Atlanta where the Atlanta Braves play, and there's several other mixed-use projects happening. But this particular project is unique because we get the opportunity to partner with a college. And when we started this work, I will be honest with you, in the very first meetings that I had in the days after we took ownership and stewardship of this team, I didn't think I quite realized this was much bigger than building a ballpark. We knew that we had the opportunity to build a partnership with Hillsborough College, but we have enjoyed the last 9 months as we've dated and gotten to know each other a little bit. And we hear about all the good, the bad, the ugly. The Rays aren't perfect. Hillsborough College is pretty perfect. But we get an opportunity to build something genuine with you. And I just want to say to Paige and Dr. Atwater in this room, we couldn't be prouder of what we're building. And it has nothing to do with baseball at all. It's about building something really strong that our community needs. And I couldn't be prouder of that. So here's what we're talking about. 8 million square feet plus, fully built out. Rejuvenated and reinvented college campus. And I know you're all thinking, who's going to pay for all this? I know that was what Councilman Miranda's thinking, for sure. Multi-family residential, retail, hospitality, restaurants, the creation of a sports medicine program, robust community centers, right? The opportunity to build a true sports destination that's going to lift the other teams in our region, right? The Bucks across the street, the Yankees around the corner. One of the proudest moments I've had as we've worked this project day and night the last 9 months, going everywhere that folks will have us to talk about why this makes sense, was we were called in to meet with Hal Steinbrenner and the ownership of the New York Yankees. And you'd sit and say, as I see Tino Martinez's photo over our shoulder, and I think that's his World Series jersey right around the corner. We're in the American League East. We compete against the New York Yankees every single day. I grew up, I admit, a Baltimore Orioles fan, and we competed against the Yankees every single day. And one of the first phone calls we got when we started working on this project was from Hal Steinbrenner, the owner of the New York Yankees, who said, I want the Rays to be in Tampa, and I want to see this project move forward. Now, he made a point to talk about the importance of other community facilities, which we, of course, agree that rising tides lift all ships, and we feel that way very much. But to have the owner of the New York Yankees, our rival, who we compete with, and I hope we sweep again when they come to Tampa in 2 weeks, say that we believe in what you're trying to create here because we believe the Rays belong in Tampa. And by the way, they didn't just say, come to Tampa. They said, set up shop, build your 130-acre development, rejuvenate Hillsborough College, and we want you to do it right next to us at George Steinbrenner Field. Pretty cool. And so we're talking about building a partnership alongside our neighboring sports teams. We're talking about attracting and relocating new businesses to the region, and I'll talk about that. And we're talking about bringing 11,900 permanent jobs. I saw a post this weekend. My wife held it up. They said, no, those are just construction jobs. No, 11,900 permanent jobs right here to our region, in the community. And I couldn't be prouder of that work. Those aren't numbers that the Rays are just putting out there on the internet. They've been backed up by multiple third-party firms have come in and talked about the billions of dollars of economic development that'll be created. It's what we call the but-for argument, but not for this investment that the Rays are making, that the county's making, that we hope that the county and city together will make alongside us. This development would not happen. This $1 billion, 55, I'm cheating, that slide's coming, $55 billion of economic development would not happen. 11,900 new, well-paying jobs in our community, and again, as I've said, a brand new experience for students at Hillsborough College. This is how we're thinking at a high level about the site, and everybody knows it well. It's just across the street. But when you look at Hillsborough College's current campus, you could begin to imagine, and we have with our master planners at Gensler, Hillsborough College's new campus in what we're calling Innovation Edge. Hillsborough College will have its own, front door to the community as it richly deserves, and an opportunity to build the next generation of its campus. And folks have said, why does Hillsborough College need this? I'll let their leadership explain it to you, but their existing buildings have significant deferred maintenance without a solution for funding. And the state has stepped up, again, in the but-for construct, and said if the county and the city move this project forward with the Rays, we are going to contribute millions of dollars in paying for the rejuvenated and rebuilt and reinvented Hillsborough College. Again, but not for this investment that we're all making together. We're talking about building a new Champions Quarter. That'll, of course, include the new home of the Rays and the new ballpark, but mixed use, retail, a Fortune 500 company that we are engaged with right now about moving massive office space, not only to Florida, they're not based in Florida right now, but right here in Tampa as a function of this development. And we'll have more information to share as those discussions evolve over the course of the next few weeks. Hotels, retail, great restaurants, and an opportunity to serve the entire community. We're also leaning in and thinking about park spaces, multifamily housing, and when I talk about our community benefits agreement, an investment into Al Lopez Park, which we're really excited about as part of this project. And so here it is, the brand new Hillsborough College. These are some of the early renderings, obviously, that we've put out as a function of our partnership that we're working. We're still working through the details of how the campus will be laid out for Hillsborough College, but I can tell you that we're working side by side to understand the needs of students, the needs of faculty, the needs of staff, so that their experience is what it deserves. As we've said, this is much bigger than having a conversation about the Tampa Bay Rays or a ballpark. This is about investing in the future of Tampa by investing in education. And this portion of the project will be funded by the state of Florida if the project moves forward. And we couldn't be more proud of this work. Imagine a job pipeline system where students that graduate from Hillsborough College have instant opportunities built into the development, into the 130 acres, not only for the baseball team, working in retail, working in hospitality. Hillsborough College has a world-class culinary program. There's so many opportunities. We talked about sports medicine and beyond. And so you can start to get excited about what this college is going to be. I joke that we think Dr. Atwater will be on a speaking tour all over the country as a function of this project, and we couldn't be prouder of this new relationship. Talked a lot about some of these programs, IT, cybersecurity, culinary, etc. Instruction will be continued without disruption and interruption as a function of a project we're working on right now called The Nest. The Rays will take leadership in paying for this transitionary campus right on the Dale Mabry site. We're not sending students to other parts of town. Classes and instruction will continue, and the Rays are leaning in financially to help to be able to make that a possibility during the construction of the ballpark. We know that construction is sometimes not fun and creates traffic and different issues, but we've said to Hillsborough College, we're going to be your partner, and we're going to see through that path with you every step of the way. Let's talk a little bit about the ballpark. Every ballpark, now I'm a diehard baseball fan. I grew up around the game. My father worked for the Baltimore Orioles. He was the general counsel of the team in the early 90s when Oriole Park at Camden Yards was being built. And as we think about this project, we wanted to build a project that was uniquely built for Tampa. And so imagine on a day just like today, 90 degrees, humid, hot, it's only getting warmer, so I'm learning. Sitting indoors with a fixed roof, but having the transparency to see outside, and yet you're cool and comfortable watching a game, attending an event, a concert. We don't have a concert venue that would host 30,000 seated indoors, comfortably, larger than the arena, smaller than Raymond James Stadium, but indoors and climate controlled. You'll see planes flying above. You'll see, if it's raining, you'll see the raindrops and the lightning and hear the thunder as if you were outside while indoors being completely, perfectly comfortable. Pretty cool. We're bringing the outside in. Lots of glass. Lots of what we call viewscape, which is a new technology that creates a very cost-efficient, lightweight roof system. No retractable roof. Folks ask us all the time, is it going to open, is it going to close? We wanted to keep the cost down and have worked really hard to drive the cost of this down. Most of the ballparks, like in Miami and other places, Houston, where they have the retractable roof, they never use it. So we'd rather be responsible with our money and, of course, the taxpayers' money. It'll be the most intimate ballpark in all of Major League Baseball. About 30,000 seats and a really special experience for our fans and for our players to create a great home field advantage. We're working to create a community benefits agreement. Now, if you're not familiar with how this works, there's an ordinance in the city that talks about if you're going to take a public-private partnership, which is this is, and I'll talk through what the Rays are proposing putting in, what we're asking for in support from the county and the city, and the risk that the Rays are taking through the project as a whole. But we propose a multifaceted process through a community benefits agreement. It'll be the largest community benefits agreement in the city's history, with commitments and putting a committee together around another number of public pillars and areas of focus that are critical to our success. The program, as we think about community benefits, will invest in jobs, creating workforce pipelines, the college, which we've talked about, better streets and neighborhoods. We've talked about building a police substation, Station 1, which is, of course, on the other side of Dale Mabry now, into the new development, creating infrastructure for fire, creating more infrastructure and creating and thinking about affordable housing. Maybe not in the development specifically, but making a formal commitment to affordable housing that's so desperately needed here in the community. And we talked about our commitment for parks. We have a bold vision for Al Lopez's park and things that we can do around tennis courts and pickleball courts and all kinds of other sports courts and other ideas, lighting, safety, etc. And you'll hear more about that community benefits agreement very soon as we roll that plan out to the community. We couldn't be prouder of this work, and we think it's necessary, not only in that we're creating a public-private partnership, but using this opportunity to do no harm in other aspects of the community. For folks that sit and wonder, can we afford this? We've taken the position that this project will take no allocated funding from public safety, from fire, from emergency management, and that's why you've seen both police and fire have come out vocally in support of this project. Sometimes on public initiatives, they stay back and wait and observe and want to understand the economic impacts to projects. We were thrilled to see the support of the fire and county, the fire and police support that we've received, because they know this project is going to make our community a better, safer, stronger place to work by the revenues that this is going to generate and the good that it's going to do for our community as a whole. How are we going to pay for this? That's the question. That's what's in the paper every day. That's what my mother's asking me every weekend. We're talking about a $2.3 billion ballpark. And folks say, how is that possible? How could a ballpark cost $2.3 billion? Well, right now in Las Vegas, right on the Strip, the Oakland A's are building their new ballpark, which will open in April of 2028. And that ballpark will cost $2.1 billion. You can go look it up. In Kansas City, Missouri, the Kansas City Royals are also building a brand new ballpark. The A's one, of course, will have a roof. It's pretty hot in Vegas. In Kansas City, they're building a ballpark too, and they just announced it. The city just committed $600 million, just the city alone, in that project. And there'll be other state and county funding in that project along with the Royals. No roof, $1.9 billion as a project. If you go look at this, we're talking about a $2.3 billion ballpark. And at the beginning of these conversations, we, the ownership group, new ownership group of the Rays, said we want to pay for at least half of it. We want to pay for 100% of the cost of the development around the ballpark. Right? The state's going to help us with the college. We're going to get a little help from the state on some road infrastructure and to make sure that the roads are being widened and they're safe and that there's storm irrigation. But outside of that, the Tampa Bay Rays and our partners are taking on more than 54% now in the current documents that were approved, a non-binding MOU, Memorandum of Understanding, with the County Commission and City Council. Now, this deal is not final. We're still drafting definitive documents that will ultimately come back to the governing bodies of the county and city for final approval. But I want to let you know this project will be the largest private investment by a sports team in Florida's history and one of the largest private projects in Major League Baseball history. The Rays are prepared to invest over $1.2 billion just in the ballpark alone, 100% of the cost overruns. If this thing becomes $2.5 billion, $2.6 billion, we've all seen how much the construction cost of things are increasing. The Rays will take 100% of that risk. The public will take no risk on the cost overruns. The Rays will take on all the operating expenses of running the building and 100% of the cost of the development. And so when you think of the value proposition, I would posit to you that this is a public-private partnership. We're coming to the table, investing in the community. And that's why you've seen so many different governing bodies step up and elected officials and say, I believe in this. Now, it's not without discussion and good consternation, and that's healthy. That's why you want to see this. But I would tell you this, no great American city doesn't have a Major League Baseball. For 25 years, folks have wondered about the future of the Rays. Are they going to stay in Tampa? Are they going to move somewhere else? Are they going to St. Pete? Is something else happening? This is our moment. And to be in this place right now, literally pulling all-nighters, drafting these definitive documents that we're going to bring to the County Commission and City Council soon, will put us in a position to open our brand new ballpark in April of 2029. Will put us in a position to rejuvenate Hillsborough College and create, and this is our punchline, $55 billion of economic impact for our region. 11,900 new jobs. You can see the various sources and different economic firms that have stepped up and said that we attest that this data is true. The polling on the project is strong. People want this here in Tampa. Now, there's good discussion about how it should be paid for. Perfectly fair and reasonable. But I would share with you that as we stand here today, the Rays are standing here ready, willing, and able. We've got the support of our constituents to do this. Our ownership group, for the first time in 25 years, you've got an ownership group that has not only the wherewithal, but the appetite, the motivation to write the check to get this project done. Our state, our county, and our city leaders are reviewing documents as we speak. I've got another meeting at 2 o'clock this afternoon. The college is ready to transform. Our timeline is achievable. You've seen the commissioner, the governor, various county commissioners and city council members stand up and express their support for this project. And simply put, our time is now. Thank you. Happy to take some questions. Yes, sir.
I'll start with the one of the 5 questions I'm going to ask you. I'm kidding. With the proposal...
You sound like my wife.
Hopefully I don't look like her. Anyway, with the proposal that just passed the legislature, which is going to cause a ripple effect concerning property taxes, which is completely and directly related to the CRA dollars that we're asking the city to provide for the infrastructure for the stadium. What is the discussion currently with the county, with the city, and with yourselves in terms of what happens if that gets passed and how you're going to be able to fund this? Because so much of it is tied into public financing, and so much of what the city and the county are doing has to take into effect what they're going to have to spend in order to try and get what they need to serve the citizens. So what have you been finding out from your team?
It's a great question. So, and there's a fabulous article now about probably 2 weeks ago that John Romano in the Tampa Bay Times wrote about this, and I commented in that piece, and I think it's worth, you know, as you're trying to understand property tax reform and what the governor's trying to do. The first thing I would say is it's responsible to ask these questions because the impact of property tax reform to our region, to Florida, to our local governments is important to understand. But I would also say, and I think this has, you know, been demonstrated, that a project like this, in many ways, is needed now more than ever to be able to find new ways. If property taxes are going to decrease, if impacts of revenue generation from property tax generation is going to decrease the amount of money coming to our local governments, then my goodness, we better start finding some new ways to start generating revenue here in Tampa to be able to grow as a city, to make the investments that we need. And I would say, maybe a little bit biased, I'm not aware of too many other projects of folks walking in a room saying, guys, what do you think? Do we want to invest in $55 billion of economic impact in our region over the next 30 years? This is an investment that when you think about it, these kinds of projects, in fact, I was with the county administrator about a week ago, and she said, Ken, we've had a realization, and I'll give you a direct quote. We need to be in the economic development business. We as the county need to find new ways to start to reinvest in ourselves to create new impact. And this project is really, I think, the first of its kind to be able to demonstrate that we have that opportunity. So we wouldn't say, some have said, oh, you're just ignoring the discussion. No, no, no. We're listening to it. We're residents here too. I live in Tampa. I live in Hillsborough County. We believe this. We understand the impact. We think it's responsible to watch the debate. We can have a longer discussion of whether we think it's going to pass or how much, you know, who supports it, who doesn't, that you could have a whole luncheon on that. But what I can tell you that I know for certain is that if this were to move forward, if property tax reform were to move forward, we need projects like this in order to create new revenue generation for our county and for our city. Sir, hey Joe.
Yeah, thank you very much. I'm going to throw you a curveball.
Okay.
No
That's a
pun
good one.
intended.
Yeah. Never happens. Nobody ever makes the baseball. I'll try and hit a home run.
I'm sure you will. From what I understand, that in the near future, because of salary caps and because of free agency, there might be a strike looming. Would this help or hinder this wonderful idea of a new stadium in Tampa?
Yeah, you know, I think there's a lot of consternation out there about baseball and labor reform and competitive balance. This has gone on, you know, certainly my whole lifetime. We played the Los Angeles Dodgers last week, out in Los Angeles. World Series defending champion Los Angeles Dodgers. We lost all 3 games by 1 run. And I was with a friend who's not a big baseball fan and said, you know, how does their payroll in Los Angeles compare to your payroll in Tampa? I mean, maybe he's not that good a friend now that I think of it. But I explained to him, and this is good for everybody to know, that just the luxury tax alone that the Los Angeles Dodgers pay, just the luxury tax, I'm not talking about their payroll, is 2 times the cost of the entire Tampa Bay Rays payroll. Now they have this guy Ohtani, he's pretty good, but it's not just Shohei, it's their entire team. So, do we believe that competitive balance in baseball needs to change? Yes, but I don't think it changes the conversation we're having here today. Baseball is alive and well. Major League Baseball just had a record year with attendance up 20%, the highest television ratings in I believe in 15 years from Game 7 of the World Series. So yes, we read those stories. I watch them. I attend our owners' meetings. We learn. We care about that discussion. But I don't think it changes the dynamic of us investing in the future of Tampa, investing in a college, and investing and keeping the Rays here in Tampa.
Thank you.
Okay, good question, Joe. Sir,
Yeah.
we can't afford Ohtani. That's where you're going.
We can have to stay over there.
Yeah.
That's okay. Question is, I'm all about the private, public partnership. You mentioned, you're taking the lion's share of the cost as well.
Yeah.
Very, very good at that. I think what a lot of people are concerned with is, where's the other 46% coming from?
Yep.
Now, I don't know if you're at liberty to
Yep.
discuss that.
Yep.
But I mean, is there like maybe a Raise IPO coming out, or public shares? Is there a tax? Is there what do you see as a working component for the 46%?
There's not a Rays IPO coming out. We addressed that clearly. We can talk about SpaceX if you want. Let's talk about how the project's funded. It's been interesting. I haven't been in a public room like this since the MOU details were discussed, so I was always a little hesitant to get into the numbers. And again, it was just a non-binding memorandum of understanding. And so we have a lot of business people in this room. There's still deal making, there's still discussion and back and forth. Nothing is certain. But the public funding of the deal works out to be under $1 billion, about $976 million. There's some investment earnings and other pieces in there. About 87% of that comes from the county. Just to give you kind of a rough, 87% of the public money comes from the county. The Rays pay the rest, the private side. And so the ownership group, what I can share with you, because there are questions to say, how are you guys going to afford this? You just bought the team, you just paid $1.7 billion to buy the team. When we bought the team, we knew we had to build a stadium. And by the way, in baseball, we call it a ballpark, not a stadium.
Yes.
I say that, and my father would kill me if they play other sports in stadiums. They play baseball in the ballpark.
Right.
But we knew that we'd have to have the capital wherewithal to do it. And so as we put the group together to buy the team, of which of course includes many legendary Tampa families, Dan Doyle, Fred Ridley, Will Weatherford, Drew Weatherford, go on and on. The entire investment group, by the way, many of whom are based here in Tampa, their names are on our website. We don't try and hide. The group is qualified, capable, and ready to write the check for our share of the ballpark. And I think it's important to say that. Folks have asked that question. I can also give you the assurance, Major League Baseball wouldn't have allowed us to buy the team if we couldn't demonstrate to the league and our other 29 owners that we're ready to write that check. And so we're ready to do our part. We'll demonstrate that to the county and city as a condition in the definitive documents as we're working on them. So folks have said, how do we know? You'll know very soon when the documents are finalized. And then they'll be brought up to the county commission and the city for discussion and ultimately, we hope, an affirmative vote. Thank you. Yep. Great question.
Thank you for
course.
coming out and connecting with us. My question is in regards to our small business owners. Has there been any consideration in including small business participation goals, especially since that would create more of an immediate economic impact for our community?
Yeah, absolutely. First and foremost, we are also a community business. Sports teams have this sort of image of being these like high profile, big businesses. We're not. We're 500-600 person business, just like many other small businesses in our region. And by the way, the first 2 words of our name are Tampa Bay. So if you would think about if you were in our shoes in a project like this and who we want in the development and who's going to be doing the work who's going to be doing the construction, who are the advisors we're hiring. Local is the name of the answer. And we're going to launch a procurement process here very shortly. And while you may see some big general contractors and national companies that build stadiums and know how to do this kind of work, what you're really going to see is the commitment that we're willing to make to local businesses, minority businesses, and to the community as a whole. We are stewards of this team. You know, I tell people this all the time. We said it at our opening press conference. You know, I believe that a professional sports team in any city, and I've been around sports my whole life. I've owned 2 different teams prior to this. I owned a minor league team in Jacksonville, Florida, the Jackson baseball team, the Jacksonville Jumbo Shrimp, AAA affiliate of the Miami Marlins. And if you don't like that name, I owned another team in Akron, Ohio, AA affiliate of the Cleveland Guardians, known as the Akron Rubber Ducks. Akron is the tire capital of the world. Goodyear, VF Goodrich. Local business is my currency. It's the world that I grew up in. And of course, the Rays already do a wonderful job with their commitments and community partnerships, but you can expect that to just explode as we come over the bay into Tampa. I was driving here today, and I'll take one more. How many have we had? 3 or 4? 4. We'll take one more. And I was thinking today as I was driving over, what would the slogan be for our opening season here in April of 2029? What would we want to say to the community? Rosie, our Chief Communications Officer, is here. She's going to kill me again because I'm just going to say this without any thought at all. But I'll just say, I was driving over the bay and I thought, welcome home. Because when I think about where the Rays belong, and this is not any knock to our friends in Pinellas and St. Pete that have been a wonderful home for this team since 1998. They just reinvested. I was just with the mayor over the weekend, in St. Pete. They've been a wonderful partner. But the Rays belong in Tampa. Next question. Last one.
One more?
Make it a goodie. Yes, ma'am.
Yes, Mr. Babby, thanks again for being with us today. Can you shed a little more light on the community benefits agreement?
Yeah.
And what is the timeline, and who is representing the West Tampa Drew Park
Yeah.
community in that equation?
Yeah, excellent question. So the city has a pretty, elaborate process for how community benefits agreements work. We don't get to just make the rules up and say, here's who we want. And there's certainly areas that we believe the city, from talking to our elected officials, where there are priorities, and we believe that it's important to lean into those, and we will. But the community benefits agreement process that the city stipulates, and we'll work with the county on it as well, talks about forming a committee with representation of all walks of life, from the city, from the Rays, from the community. And we agree with you. We believe Drew Park, deserves a seat at the table. We believe that this region deserves the right people around the table. We'll leave that to our elected officials, who will play an active role in determining who should be to the left and the right of those representatives, but we agree with you. We don't get to just pick them. I can't say, well, we'll take you and you and you. That's a great question to ask your elected officials. We are bringing in advisors to think through, the areas, the pillars, the areas in which we think we can make the right impact. But I do believe that this community benefits agreement, if it's crafted perfectly with the right people around the table, has an opportunity to make a massive impact to Tampa. I'm not talking about the development. A massive impact to areas that Tampa needs most. And as we look back, decades later, and we see that work, and we see the project, and we see the impact, we'd say the community benefits agreement might be one of the most important parts of this entire project. So I'd say stay tuned, but we believe in that representation, and I think you'll see that materialize as we hope the county and the city council move the project forward. Thank you so much.